People love to complain that Marvel movies feel samey, and then I'm just like, have you seen any of these? Hobbs and Shaw was directed by David Leitch and it stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jason Statham. Idris Elba plays the villain. He's this enhanced cybernetic warmonger named Brixton who apparently used to work with Jason Statham's character, and then he goes to war trying to release this airborne virus. Yep, we've seen it before. I know what you're thinking. So Hobbs and Shaw, of course, had to team up despite their differences to take him down. This movie is literally just a filler spinoff to tie us over until Furious 9 comes out, so there's that. But there is a little bit of good to go around, so I'm going to start with that. First of all, The Rock and Jason Statham are fun as usual. They're both not great actors in their own right, but when it comes to being action stars, they get the job done. And you can really tell they had fun with making this movie. For all the qualms I have with some of the actual performances, it still felt like they were having a good time making it, and thus the audience has a good time watching it. I also really like Vanessa Kirby's character. She plays Shaw's sister, who, like, they have a lot of good back and forth banter, and she was a good addition to the action. Idris Elba is as passable as it gets for a villain. I wasn't really liking the direction they took his character because he had no development whatsoever. He was literally just a lackey for the bigger boss, the bigger villain that they didn't even introduce. This being a Fast and Furious movie, there are gonna be a couple cool action set pieces and a lot of beautiful international locales, but you kind of seen it before. There's not really anything this movie adds to the franchise. All the Fast and Furious tropes are here. The overdramatic action sequences, the overuse of slow-mo, the lingering booty shot in the first 20 minutes, it's all here. But this movie kind of drops the ball as far as the Fast and Furious action scale. Fast 5, they were driving through Brazil. They were chugging a whole tank behind them on the freeway. Fast and Furious 6, you had the whole airplane chase sequences on the runway. Furious 7 had them driving their cars off the mountain. It had them jumping across buildings, through skyscrapers and everything. I feel like every Fast movie from the last 5 or so years had a standout action sequence that just really grabbed your attention and made you remember the movie. This one doesn't really have anything like that. Not only that, but the performances, even for a movie like this, even for a by-the-numbers summer action flick, are really bad. Especially The Rock's performance in this movie. Oh my goodness, he has a couple dramatic moments in this movie that he just doesn't sell. This being a Hobbs and Shaw movie, of course, almost all the dialogue between them is just trading insults and just roasting each other for the entire movie. And while that started off very hilarious, it got old pretty fast. To the point where the insults just started sounding lazy and like a child wrote them. The movie's a bit too long and the pacing definitely suffers. There's about 3 different times this movie could have ended and it just kept going. And while there were a couple of celebrity cameos I liked that kind of helped ease the tension, these cameos didn't last for long, and it kind of cemented the fact that The Rock and Jason Statham just can't carry a movie like this on their own. The thing about the Fast and Furious movies, they were ensemble pieces, so even if you weren't enjoying the relationship between two characters, you always had the banter and the heart between another set of characters to really carry on the heart and the humor of the movie. I feel like neither Hobbs or Shaw developed as characters in this movie, so it just didn't make their relationship feel worthwhile. Even the family dynamic falls flat in this movie. This being a Fast and Furious movie, you know it gotta be about family. But the family dynamic just doesn't stick because it's just not focused on. The Rock has a scene early on when his daughter is asking her about her family and where her family comes from and why they aren't closer together. And then as you see in the trailers, The Rock goes back home in the last 30 minutes of the movie, but the dynamic, the bond, just doesn't sell because they barely focus on it. It's all about the action. And like I said, the action kind of drags in the movie. There's no standout action set piece, and the third act, oh boy. The third act is actually a mess. The effects are bad, the CGI is lacking, and oh my goodness, there's so much slow-mo. During the last hand-to-hand combat sequence of this movie, literally every blow is just What's the problem? It gets so old so fast, my goodness. This is basically another toss-away summer action flick that you're used to, but it's not as heartfelt or ambitious as the last couple Fast movies. Overall, Hobbs and Shaw didn't really do anything for me. The chemistry between The Rock and Statham was enjoyable at times, but didn't move the characters forward and really devolved into immature playground banter. Idris Elba is a serviceable villain at best, and the action does not push the boundaries of the franchise in any ways. I'm gonna give Hobbs and Shaw an average 3 out of 5 stars. So those are my overall thoughts on Hobbs and Shaw. If you like this video, please leave a like, leave a comment also telling me what's your favorite Fast and Furious movie. As always, subscribe for more content like this. It really helps out the channel. As usual, I am Pac. Thanks so much for hearing my perspective, and I'm out for now.